It's the Age of Empires Summer Championship, of course. I'm sure that you all read about it on ezo-community.net. You can find all the information, the brackets, discussions, recorded games, and everything. This is currently still the round of 128, so it's a BO3. And I believe the map pool for this match is Tibet, Baja, California, and Cascada Range as a third. Not sure about the last one, but anyway, all the matches have a specific map pool. Instead of everyone, not everyone has the same map pool. Every match has a specific map pool assigned by the admins, randomly that is. So, first map is going to be Tibet, and we have Japanese versus French. MasterDutch playing Japan, and DogSoldier going for French. This map, that means actually it's interesting that I believe MasterDutch plays Japan and India, and DogSoldier is mostly a French player, and I believe he can do his occasional German thing. So it's interesting for him to go French here, because I think that MasterDutch might want to save his German, his India for the German. And of course, if you choose French here, and then MasterDutch has to go French, it means that he has only one starting orchard here on this map. So a small thing, I think, for DogSoldier. Anyway, this map also has cows, and of course, whoever gets the most cows has the most food later on. However, for Japan, of course, cows are attached to shrines, so it's actually very important for him to also find them. If he can test them to his Age-Up Wonder, it would give him another boost. Both have 2 scouts, of course. The Japan guy starts with 2, and the French one has actually, he should have a second scout. Oh, there it is, yes. Okay, so MasterDutch found 3 cows already, and also 3 cows for DogSoldier. I'm not that familiar with these players. I believe, yeah, MasterDutch, of course, is the brother from Goodspeed, so maybe Goodspeed has given him some strategic advice and practice. I'm not sure about that. And DogSoldier, yeah, I know him from the team games a little bit. He plays pretty okay there, but I'm not sure like how he's in 1-1, so it's gonna be quite a surprise, I think. 2 more cows there, if they're gonna make it home safely. And he's also gonna get 85 wood, which is quite nice. I'm not sure actually, I thought that MasterDutch was scouting in that direction. So I'm curious to see why he is not trying to go for it. 2 more cows for him as well, that's all pretty equal. Okay, of course he has to build a shrine. This is pretty standard, by the way, by a Japanese player. Building the consulate early, allying to the Portuguese, and then does he have a wood treasure? Yeah, he found 40 wood as well, so that's good. So then he has the option to build a cheaper shrine, and of course the Portuguese consulate also allows him to age up with less food, so that's a little bit faster. 2 for 6 cows, 2, 3, 4, 5, with a possible 2 more there. What was I about to say? Oh yeah, the Japanese guy starts with 1 cherry orchard, and usually on most maps you start with 2. So that means he might have to change his BO a little bit. It doesn't come into play that early, of course, but usually you can delay your 2 cherry orchards card a little bit because you have 2 from the start, or you have 1 cherry orchard and berries. But in this case, since he has only 1, which is 4,500 food from the start, or 5,000, I think. Anyway, it means that he has to send his cherry orchard faster, so of course he has to skip 1 other card at some point. It will be interesting to see if he is gonna try, for example, to go for maybe he's opting to gather more gold and have his shrines on food for a longer period of time, to make sure that he doesn't have to send his cherry orchards too fast. We'll have to see what he's gonna do there. Oh, the cows were found by someone but then deleted. Always sad to see the cows lying there on the ground. It looks like all the cows have been found so far, or deleted, that is. There's going to be a shrine, I assume. So the age up times, of course French age a little bit faster. I don't think he used the cow. Maybe he did use 1 cow to age up, not sure. I thought there were 3 over here. Maybe he used 1 cow to make sure that he has no idle time at all. Of course, starting with the market, pretty standard. Oh wait, another cow deleted. This is of course quite okay if, for example, MasterDutch found this cow, then you might as well delete it instead of escorting it back to your base. But anyway, Japanese guy, one village on the one, their age is a little bit slower than the French, is quite standard. And basically it's mostly about what the French is going to do. You can go for an expo pike rush, musketeer, SAR, or some kind of semi-FF. We see 2 forward villagers, and we see he's going to build a Rex. Furthermore, we see that all villagers are on food. And where's the rest? There's one. Okay, anyway, very few on gold, so he's probably gonna go for some expo pike stuff. 2 Rexes going down. This can still be musketeer. Oh, he has 3 villages on gold, so okay. Maybe he's gonna go for double Rex musketeer push. The problem with that though is that the Japanese guy can just make a small wall. Or maybe just even, I think this is quite walled with the mine and the trees and the consulate. So he can also put his Rex down here. He has kind of a natural wall then. He can just make Yumi archers and he should be totally fine. So usually you see some kind of musketeer SAR push or expo pike. Maybe he's gonna go for musketeers and then add in a stable later if the Japanese guy is going for Yumis. So far it looks also like the Japanese guy has this scouted instantly because his shrine is there, very well positioned. Of course it takes a little bit of the hunts away from your opponent, but also gives a nice line of sight from whatever is coming in there. And ooh, we see 4 musketeers. It's a little bit of a slip up, because usually you should have 10 or 8 at least. The problem with this map, by the way, I pointed out earlier in the cast yesterday, is that okay, there's a barracks going up and there's a march going up. If as long as he doesn't find the barracks, at least can finish, that would be a good thing. A little bit of harassment here, but he's not going to get that much done because he has only a few musketeers. And we see the Japanese guy sends the enlist irregulars, the colonial militia card for like the like the European civilizations have. Anyway, it increases town center fire, of course, which is quite useful against the rush. However, in this case, I think I would prefer to just stick to Yumi defense and not waste the card. I mean, if he sends 600 wood, he could have had Yumis, he could even call Meadmen to hold off this kind of rush. He picks off a musketeer there nicely. However, the problem is also that did it help that much? In this case, no, I think, because when the villagers go out and shoot, it also means that the town center is not shooting anymore. So in this case, you might as well have the villagers in your town center and use this, what is it, 20 range or something that it has. Anyway, what I wanted to say is that the reason why a lot of players will really struggle to get a lot of units out on this map is simply because, there we have the units by the way, now it's completely fine, is simply because the resources are quite scattered around the map and not that high in count. For example, the animals here, there's a few left. His main herd is already gone, and actually is not really trying to bring in this herd, for example, nor this one. So the problem is that because the herds are so far and so few, you just don't have the resources to get a good number of units out, and that's also why, for example, Expo Pike might be more useful than a Musketeer Rush, because Musketeers just cost a lot more food. Or perhaps go for some kind of semi-FF, but then again, because Japan is probably hard on this map as well, because you can just go for shrines everywhere, meaning that you don't have food left. Anyway, we'll see what he gets done here. Quite good micro by MasterDutch. It looks like trying to pick up the low musketeers, as you see here, low HP musketeers. What I don't like is that he's putting all his villagers in his town center constantly. I mentioned this before, you only need 10 villagers for the max amount of damage. All the other villages you can just use to gather some gold or gather some food or whatever. The more food you can gather while your opponent is pressuring, of course, the more units you can make and the better you can stabilize later. We see that he has 370 exports, so he is soon able to call out the crossbowmen from his consulate, which will for sure give him the defense that he needs for this push, because there's still no stable up, so that means only musketeers. And I'm actually surprised, by the way, that he's making Ashigawas. I would just probably make only Yumis. Maybe he's unsure whether there's a stable up or not, so he's kind of expecting Hussars to be made, that's why he's making some musketeers. Anyway, all this time the town center does do quite good damage, but still, again, the same thing. All these villages inside, there's no need for that, just 10. It's a very important thing, because if you do it once, okay, then it doesn't really matter that much, but if you do it like 5-6 times, every villager in your town center, then it's just gonna add up, and you're gonna lose a lot of resources by not gathering effectively. Of course, if the musketeers are too close, you do have to hide because you don't want to lose your villagers. But also, he ships 4 villagers. I think he would have been better off shipping 5 Yumis in this case because he has to stabilize. And the thing is, 4 villagers is okay for your economy, but if you have to hide your villagers constantly in your town center, then 4 villagers is not really useful. So in that case, shipping 5 Yumi, stabilize, and then shipping 4 villagers is probably the better option. It looks like DogSoldier has mixed in a few pikemen here. Gonna take out a few shrines. Of course, he does need the food that is otherwise blocked by the shrines from the Japanese guy. And he's now shipping 700 coin. And what is he gonna do with that? 1400 food. So he's looking to age up after this initial pressure. And I think that's a good choice. He sees that there's a lot of Yumi out, so he's probably not gonna get that much done. Which means that either having to add a stable or aging up. But since adding a stable requires a lot of resources as well, he has to get a lot of food to get the units out. It's probably the best choice here to age up and then, for example, go for a musketeer cannon push, because the Japanese guy is still in the second age, has no way of aging up soon. So it's a logical thought process there. I'm not sure what he's trying to do there. Probably maybe guessing there might be shrines getting built there and trying to prevent it, for example, by taking down the hero. He's going to miss these 2 shrines. And now MasterDutch is really in a tough spot because he is nowhere close to aging up himself, which kind of means that he can't really gather the resources and age up and play catch up. That would just be too late, would take too much time. So the only option for him is hoping that his economy is enough to mass a big amount of units, and then, for example, try to come from a nice flank, say some units from the top, from the side, and hopefully tackle it that way. The thing is that, of course, there are not that many musketeers. Oh wait, 10 skirmishers, which is of course very useful versus all the Yumis. I'm really curious. I think he's just gonna ship 2 cannons. Oh wait, he ships 1k wood. I would probably ship 2 cannons based on the army that you already have there. It's probably better to push out, because the longer that you give the Japanese time to mass an army, the better I feel it's gonna get. And of course, don't forget that Yumi are quite strong with their 19 base attack. He's gonna continue taking out some shrines, and so far MasterDutch is not sending any units there. It is actually quite understandable, because he's probably scared and needs all the units back at home. Nice little wall going up there, although he has to be very careful. The villager's not gonna get picked off by the skirmishers. Is he gonna respond on time? No, he's not. 1 village goes down, I think a second one as well. That's a little bit unfortunate. Nice picking off there by DogSoldier, trying to use the range as much as possible. He's making an arsenal. Maybe for the ×3 upgrade from skirmishers versus Ashigaru or something. Not sure. But anyway, you see on the right side here that the scores are actually... there's quite a big difference there. DogSoldier is for 150, that is, so he's 40 points ahead, a little bit more than 40 points ahead already. And of course he has the clear advantage of the tech in the third age. MasterDutch is continuing to build shrines, which means that he's also forcing DogSoldier to keep using his pikemen to take down the shrines. At the same time, he's walling in himself, and he did manage to age up. And actually, I said before that aging up would probably be too risky. I think in this case it's still a good decision, simply because DogSoldier is going for the 1k wood and yeah, the arsenal, whatever, and not pushing out. If DogSoldier would have pushed out with 2 cannons, which Master Chief should have scouted, then I think you really need to age up. Sorry, we really need to mass, because otherwise you're just going to lose a lot of buildings and units and not be able to gather. But in this case, because DogSoldier didn't commit to a push, I think it's a fine choice for MasterDutch to still age up. Of course, when he ages up, he has 1 shipment available already, as you can see here in the left top, and that means that he will be able to ship the 2 flaming arrows to possibly counter the 2 falcon shipments from the French guy. The French guy does have the 2nd upgrade for gold as well, and he also has, as you see here, the counter infantry rifling, which is the bonus upgrade versus Ashigarus, or actually versus heavy infantry, I should say. And he's mixing in some dragoons. And the Japanese guy is going to get his military rickshaw, probably for a stable, since he already has 2 Rexes. And there he aged up with, of course, the 5 Yumi, the Golden Pavilion, which is kind of go time for DogSoldier. Ooh, what's he doing? I don't think he should be engaging this yet. I would have preferred him to go a little bit back and wait for his upgrade his Yumis, and then hopefully Flaming Arrows as well. The problem though is the DogSoldier is going to really surround the town center, so chipping Flaming Arrows is still going to be quite hard here. There we have Madman. If he is able to get 300 gold, he will be able to call out the second Madman, which actually he should have done in the first place, but... Ooh, 2 orchards! One is gonna get down, looks like. Oh no, he's barely gonna survive. But he's getting fully surrounded here by the mass army of the French guy. And that means DogSoldier is gonna take it. The first game with a rather interesting play, but maybe because of the low amount of units that he had early on, he decided he would just pressure like slightly and then age up. Maybe if it would have been more musketeers, he would have thrown in a stable and just tried to fight with musketeers and hussars. Yeah. So basically, what does it come down to? Yes. I don't agree with the. You can't see it anymore, but I don't agree with the colonial militia card that early. I just feel that it's a waste. If you call out Madman, you're still fine. You can make a few Yumis and you're totally fine. So imagine if he shipped 600 wood, made his racks, made a few Yumis, and for example with 5 Yumis and Madman trapped the first army of DogSoldier. He would have got a decent kill, and also DogSoldier would be forced to go back. If there's really a lot of pressure and you feel pressured like too much, then you can still call the colonial militia card, but I just feel that it was a waste to send it early. Also, like I mentioned during the game, too many villages inside this town center for too long. That just means there's too low economy. Let me bring that up here. You see here the village count is, of course, French villages gather more. Here you see the difference. His economy is just way behind. Mainly because of the not 600 wood, so shipping a kind of useless card early on, while the French guy pressures a little bit but expands his economy. Secondly, because there were too many villages constantly inside the town center. And third, because he built his market very late, and thus his market upgrades also came in very late. Look at this, for example, the second food upgrade at 11 minutes. That's something that just it's not good. But like he said, he overreacted a little bit, and also, by the way, if he aged up, he probably would have been off better walling this as well, so he would buy himself some time to get the veteran Yumi upgrade and perhaps Flaming Arrow. But this is also what it comes down to. If you saw, in the end he shipped 2 orchard rickshaws, and that just he's kind of forced to ship it because he had no more food, and that just means that he can't really send 2 Flaming Arrows, because otherwise he would have no food left. Maybe he could have put his, for example, his shrines on food and gather some wood to make Yumi still, but you find yourself in a tough spot if you play Japan. I think in one way it's a good nerf to give him 1 cherry orchard only. In another way, I feel that it's a little bit too much of a nerf. I would probably prefer to have half a cherry orchard, because I feel 1 is too few and 2 is too much. Anyway, that means it's 1-0 for DogSoldier. Okay, second map is gonna be Baja. Speaking it in properly Spanish, I think. Baja, California. Okay, he needs to fix his deck for the next match because it is a water map. Yeah, the advanced arsenal was kind of a weird choice. It's really not. First of all, he didn't have that many musketeers. The Japanese guy did this. Secondly, even if he had a lot of Ashigawas, his skirmishes probably do fine early on, and it's not really worth investing 250 wood in arsenal, and then 200 wood and 200 gold in another upgrade. So it's not a good choice to go for the arsenal so early. It's also more of a team game thing. So, as I mentioned before, he is more of a team player, I think.
Yes.
DogSoldier changed his color.
Are you ready?
That means I have to change it as well. So, then we have again blue versus orange. Second map in this BO3. So, that means if DogSoldier is going to win it, he's going to take it home 2-0. Otherwise, if MasterDutch is able to take a game, we will go into the next, the third game of this series, the decider match, which is going to be played on Cascada Range, I believe.
Are you ready?
Okay, so Baja, California. It's based on the original California, as you see here on the left side. It's an interesting map. There is some water, though I don't think water play is that viable here. I believe let me check here for a second before I'm gonna fool everyone. Oh wait, sorry, the water is, yeah, okay. If you can see water for sure is viable here, you just make 2 dogs on each side and you can do whatever you want, I guess. I thought it was a little bit smaller. Anyway, water is viable in a way. On the other hand, the map is quite big, which is, by the way, good for someone who goes water because he can just split his base on 2 sides. On the other hand, there is quite some food available for the guy going for land. The problem is that trading posts are very far apart, so it's not easy to defend them if you are going for example, if you play on Hudson Bay, it's easy to defend the trading posts versus someone who goes water than on this map. But the fact that this map is so big allows for different strategies. You often have a little bit more time to boom. On the other hand, a rush is still possible because each player has basically 2 hunts, and the other ones, for example this one and this one, are quite far, which means that if you, for example, rush over here, you can control the map quite good. Also, the thing is that India here usually is the aggressive civilization, but he can't place his fort here in the middle because it's blocked by trees and trading posts, etc. I believe here is not an option either because it's too close. You could, for example, make it here, but it's kind of a silly position because then you leave a completely open path towards your opponent, from your opponent towards your base, I mean. So it's kind of a map that's not really favorable to make a fort here. Maybe here, but then he probably has to wait until all these bighorn sheep run away. Basically, it kind of forces him to make either fort at home or go for a different wonder, which kind of gives up map control again, because you can't control the center spots. Then again, it is also actually quite a good map for Dutch, I think, because India can't really be that aggressive. For example, with sepoys and elephants, which means that Dutch has a lot more time to get his setup ready. I think he can easily go for 3 banks into a third age, maybe even 4 banks, depending on what the Indian guy is going to do. So we have to see what he plans here. I'm not sure actually if I've seen DogSoldier playing Dutch ever, so I'm really curious to see how he's gonna tackle this. Meanwhile, let me take a look at the treasures. All these little 10 coin treasures don't really matter much, but 60 wood here for India, that's going to be a nice grab. He also scouted 75 coin, which he's going to get later, I'm pretty sure, and 60 wood here. Did he actually scout this with this elephant that was going that direction? Not really sure. Meanwhile, for the Dutch player, he's going to find himself 70 XP, yeah, that's decent. Where are the wood treasures? There's usually like 90 wood treasure on this map. I guess not this time. Let me take a quick look at the deck, by the way, from the Indian player. It's no sea deck, so he's not going for water anyway. And the Dutch guy has... Oh, that's interesting. He said, "Sec, I need to make a deck," but he didn't add any water cards. Maybe his anti-water play is shipping 6 petards and 12 Swiss pikemen. Who knows? So 60 wood there for the Indian guy. That's of course always very nice because Indian villagers cost wood. And it looks like he's going for normal play, no weird rush. Just making villages constantly, which of course means that he's going to age up a little bit later. The Dutch guy is already 60% up, by the way. And the Indian guy still has to place his wonder, which is going to be put down. No. Actually, I'm not sure if these players scouted the map before. On the other hand, there's the fort. I'm not really sure I like this position. Maybe you can hurt this hunt towards the fort, but maybe I would have liked it. Yeah, although it protects the second mine, so I guess that's fine. So basically, the moment that the Dutch guy aged up, the Indian guy is starting to age, which is a little bit often compared to how it should be. I feel that the Indian guy is gathering a little bit too much wood, which of course delayed his food gathering. Maybe the herding wasn't optimal. I feel he's a little bit off. I feel he should be a little bit faster. But anyway, India is always a little bit slower, so and Dutch of course is always a little bit faster. So 2 sheep is always nice for India, but 60 wood is going to be found by DogSoldier. And what is he going to do? It looks like, of course, well, I say of course, but it's quite a logical assumption that he's not going to play aggressive versus India. It doesn't really make any sense. So I think he's just going to be looking for shipping 700 wood and then making banks. Oh wait, he's going to make a market first. India goes for a trading post. Okay. So basically he's aging up. He has every villager on wood to get the constant villager production, to keep villager production going, and also to get in a trading post. Maybe actually India, oh, he should be using the sheep if he takes them. Should bring them home. Of course, sheep's any livestock generate XP for India. But I was saying that maybe he's going to go for some kind of semi-FF build with the trading post there, and because it's such a big map, maybe it's just going to go for third age play. Second bank for Dutch there. Market for India, pretty standard so far. And the 700 wood as expected. And the third bank as well. Yeah, because India is just so defensive, which is kind of what he has to do, I feel. The Dutch guy is just gonna go for a third bank, and I'm not surprised if he would even ship 600 wood and go for a fourth bank, and then just age up from there. Oh wait, he's also gonna get the 75 coin. So a consulate, so I assume 600 wood is coming for some houses and some upgrades. And then perhaps 300 export or 600 coin. We have to see what kind of build order he prefers. Meanwhile, MasterDutch is scouting. I like that a lot because he has to find out what he's up against. I'm not sure if he saw 2 banks. I'm not sure if he found out that there's a third bank over here. And there's 600 wood on the floor for the Dutch guy, so I assume that he's gonna throw down another bank and then a stable or something. The sheep are finally gonna get their way back home. Oh wait, he's gonna ship 300 export first. Well, it does, of course you can ally with the Ottomans and then you can immediately get your villagers from the Ottoman alliance, which is of course quite a good boost in the economy. And basically saying, okay, the Dutch guy is very defensive, I don't have to make any units, so I can just keep gathering with my villagers all the wood that I need to make houses and villages, so then I can as well just ship my 300 export, and it's totally fine. So 2 Seppo is just gonna go in for a little bit of a raid. A fourth bank indeed there, and the barracks. Yeah, he's not gonna get that much done with just 2 Seppos. if now that I see this, I just feel that this map is actually quite okay for Dutch, just because of the vast distance and because India can't really put a fort down here, meaning that they can't really rush hard, meaning that Dutch has much more time. For example, a French or British guy could still throw down 2 Rexes, but Dutch, I mean India without a fort is not really that strong in its rush again. So, but the trading post is doing a lot of work for the Indian player throughout the game, and it looks like he's gonna get the envoy. Yeah, so basically he's decided to just gather all the resources, ship 600 coin, and go for an age up himself. They're gonna age up basically at similar times, looks like. But the 4-bank economy for Dutch guy is a little bit better at this point. However, the longer the game goes, the more it's going into the India's favor, because he does have the villager advantage. He gets a free villager by every shipment that he sends. And of course he probably is going to do more market upgrades, which also work for him. And of course he has the 2 trickles, 1 so far, but he can still send his trickle somewhere later in the game. So early on in 3rd age, Dutch really has the advantage by economy and by units. But if the Indian guy is able to defend properly and maintains his map control in a way that he can still gather enough resources. For example, this one should be hurt. I think he misclicked, but it should be herded towards his town center, obviously. And he should already work on bringing in this one or this one. The problem is that if Dutch guy is going to pressure, and that means this hunt is not going to be useful anymore. That's why you should anticipate that and already start working on getting it towards your base, which is actually, I think, what he's doing at the moment, so that's good. Likewise for this hunt, you want to have it closer so that you can really get nice defensive position there. He's going to age up with a tower, giving him a lot of wood. Not going for the MasterDutch gate, which gives you the option to make, for example, MasterDutch Gurkha and camels to boost your army. And of course the free Mahout from the age up. But rather going for a lot of wood from the tower. The elephants are scouting, which is quite okay, but I hope he's not going to lose this one. The Dutch guy is just going to go for skirmisher water. That's just as predictable as you can say. He's also going to bring in this hunt. Okay, that's actually very good. If he is able to keep herding properly, so every 30 seconds or something, then he should really be able to get these herds very close towards his fort, which is the defensive position that he's looking forward to. Meanwhile, the Dutch guy is going to ship 1k wood. What is he going to do with that? He can't really make any more banks until he has the church card, so maybe he's just going to use it for a few houses, market upgrades. Let me check. He has the second market upgrade already, so maybe he's just going to use it for another barracks. Of course, it's probably going to turn into a skirmisher versus Gurkha, skirmisher Reuter versus Gurkha Zamburak war, and then either player is going to maybe mix in some cavalry like Mahouts or Hussars. The problem is that if then the Dutch guy is able to really outmatch the Indian guy with skirmisher count, it's really going to be hard for the Indian guy to hold that until the point that his economy is getting the upper hand. So far, you see he's 10 villages ahead. However, of course, 4 banks is worth more than these 10 villages. A little bit of a Reuter raid coming in there from the side. Likewise, he's going for a Hussar raid. That is going to be detected here. And let's see what this gets done. It looks like all these villages are going to transfer to where actually? Maybe to this mine. But here's a safe mine. Oh, he's shipping Urumi. Okay, well, if he ships Urumi, he should be looking to push out, because the longer he waits, the less useful Urumi are, and otherwise you could have, for example, invested in shipping something else, like the Gurkha card to make them better and stuff like that. Okay, there's the church card, so he's probably going to ship the church, what is it? Ship the church, what it's called again? Well, the church card, and then he's going to do 2 more banks maybe. Just boosting his economy even further. This Dutch Reuter mass is a little bit in an awkward position because he's going to get trapped by Gurkhas on all sides. Nice job by MasterDutch here. And there we have the first push incoming, and these two villagers have to be really careful. What happened to the other herd? Oh, did it miss-herd? It went the other way. Fortunately, he's gonna save the villagers on time, but he really needs to get another herd into his base. Otherwise, look, for example, this herd even ran away further. So he still has the Irumis, but he shipped Mahouts. He shipped 2 Mahouts. So he has quite a decent army to come close. The problem is, does he have enough to take down all the Reuters? It looks like he's gonna get catch the skirmishers out of position. However, he should really be moving the Yumis separately from the Mahouts, because this is just gonna take too long for the Yumis to come close. And now, of course, it's a micro battle. Reuters want to be targeting the Mahouts, and Zemburek and Gurkha should be targeting Reuters. The Gurkhas, unfortunately, are not really targeting the Reuters. He gets down both Mahouts, but the Yumis still do quite a lot of damage here, as you see. I think this was quite an okay trade, because basically he was able to reset the skirmish count from the Dutch guy, which then means that he is ahead in skirmishes. So if he can keep that up, and amass a few Zembureks again, because it looks the Dutch guy is now going to mix in Hussars, then he can really press the issue and go forward with the skirmisher advantage. Second stable going up, and no 5th bank yet. So the church still can be used, of course, for Stradiotes, which is a very strong cavalry unit. But he did, actually, I would have preferred him to not show the Hussars, just wait, sit back, and then at some point surprise your opponent with Stradiotes and Hussars at the same time. Because now that MasterDutch saw all these Hussars, he's probably gonna remake a lot of Zembureks, just to make sure that he can better deal with that. Oh, is that a 6 camel? Oh, that's really... I don't think that's the best shipment, to be honest, at this point. I would rather even send 9 Zembureks. Of course, I have perfect information here because I can see everything. But it's really important what I just mentioned. If you show your Hussars, even veteran, the fact that you have 5 veteran Hussars shows you are probably committing to them because you upgraded them and you made them already. And that just indicates to me, if I was playing India, okay, I really need to make a lot more anti-cavalry because I'm going to get... otherwise I would get owned by a lot of Hussars shortly. The scores are very similar so far, and this means that actually there's a little bit of an army advantage, I guess, for the Indian player, but he really needs to get his anti-cavalry up. He's now making some more, that's a good thing. Ooh, has to be very careful by raiding with these Sowars. Also, because he doesn't upgrade his Sowars yet, he hasn't upgraded yet, I'm really not a fan of shipping 6 Sowars because they're not even disciplined, so they really do not that much. He buys some time, that is true. But not sure. So basically I really hope he's gonna ship 9 Zemburek afterwards, because he really needs to get his Zemburek mess going. And then basically the next fight is really gonna come down to micro. Is he able to really micro his Zemburek properly on the Hussars, and is he able to micro them back as well? For example, if he just lets them stand here, they will be sniped by skirmishers too easily. And if he's able to micro them back constantly, he will be able to survive for a much longer time. He really needs to come in, man, and ship 9 Zemburek, so this is going to be a tough fight for him. He uses inspiration. He still has, of course, the Yurumis to block as well, and what are the villagers doing here? Oh wait, he did find them. Oh, he did know about the villagers there. Looks like the Yurumi are going to take down the skirmishers, and the Zemburek are going to hurry to the Hussars to try to save as much from the villagers as you can. Meanwhile, if the Gurkhas target the Reuters, I think actually this battle is quite okay for the Indian player, because the Hussars are so far out of position that they get the Zemburek do quite a lot of damage. Meanwhile, he's still making Zembureks, which is a good thing, although he shipped the attack rather than 9 Zembureks, and that's going to be a tough spot for him. He really needs to come in, man, and he also should be using the Rumis to block the Hussars. And this is the problem I was talking about. If you don't micro your Zemburek, they're just going to get killed by Hussars quite easily. You really need to micro them and move them back. And now he's going to get trapped in the way, because he has a lot of Gurkhas, but he has no anti-cavalry, and that's why in this situation it would be better to ship 9 Zemburek, for example, to just make sure that you hold, and afterwards when you push out you can ship your upgrades, and then you can make it worth a lot. Anyway, it looks like he's able to micro quite decent here. He's microing his way back and making sure the Gurkhas don't take too much damage, while the Zembureks are trying to deal with the Hussars as best as possible. However, in the process, he did lose quite a lot of villagers. Oh, he's even trying to make a town center. So he did kill quite a lot of villagers. DogSoldier did. As you see here, he's now up 6 villagers. And of course, he also has 4 banks. So his economy is really, really good at this point. And he's going all the way to this side of the map even. Well, at this point in the game, it becomes really important to realize where the resources are, and in fact, even more so, realize where your opponent's resources are. You oftentimes see people just going straight towards each other's base, but that's not the best thing. The best thing is to find the resource from your opponent, try to block them and prevent him from gathering resources, while meanwhile you are still gathering and amassing an army. He's able to get these hussars, I think. That still would be a nice little victory over there. But then again, look at how many new hussars and even cavalry attack, by the way, is shipped. Yeah, this is something he's not... Oh, he shipped a nice Zemburg finally, that's a good thing. So the hussars are going to go in again, and this is the same thing I mentioned before. It looks like he's going to micro his Zemburg pretty good at this point. Sending some back for the raid, and here doing quite an okay job. Keeping them alive as long as possible. But then again, it's really hard to micro in two fronts. He has to micro here, he has to micro here, and that is really going to be tough. Especially when the skirmishes are now going to be brought in. Targeting, of course, Zemburgs quite fast. This town center is not going to get up, and he's going to lose 5 more villagers. It probably would have been better for him to not get a town center up in this spot, but rather in a topside location where the Dutch guy is not. And now again there's 10 villager disparity. Plus the 4 banks. Minus the wood trickle, but still. It's looking very hard for MasterDutch here. And now we see a very nice composition, by the way, from DogSoldier as well. Skirmishers, Reuter and hussars. It's not like MasterDutch is really gonna mix in camels anytime soon, I feel. But it's always good to have like a few Reuters just to make sure you don't get surprised by, for example, 3 Mahout shipment or something like that. And basically he has the skirmish advantage again, just from 1 Rex it looks like. Which means that he can just press forward. As long as there's no Gurkha mass, he will be totally fine. So he's gonna take out the castle, no more line of sight there. He has control of the left side of the map. Looks like a new town center is gonna be put down here. Let's see if Master Chief can pull off some Bonang stylish play. Defend as long as possible and see what he can make happen. With a lot of town centers around the map. But DogSoldier has scouted this part of the map as well. He knows that there's dead animals here. That means that he knows that MasterDutch is gathering resources there. And very smartly he's pressuring over there and not on this side. Actually, somewhere in the midst of this, the Agafort got killed as well. I think I missed it. So, Musketeers and Zamorak against Hussars, that's of course a good trade, but when the skirmishes come in, it's going to be a whole different battle. With proper micro as he's doing here, he will be able to take down the Musketeers for sure. And yeah, MasterDutch is really pressured. He really needs a lot of Gurkhas, which he doesn't have at this point. Yeah, even reinforcing with more hussars there. You see that he is really not able to run away this time. All the units get snared by the hussars, meaning in the back the skirmishers will just finish them off. And that probably looks like it's game over. Meaning that DogSoldier take this 2-0. So congratulations to him, he's moving on to the next round. And this was also a match, by the way, where you could bet on. It looks like my betting is quite awful these days. I'm constantly changing my bets into the wrong Wrong camp, it seems like. Anyone who bet 2-0 on DogSoldier is gonna go home with a victory there, and all the other guys will lose a lot of money, it looks like. Basically this game, quick summary. Let me see, what did MasterDutch... why can't I see his deck? I'm pretty... Why is it a Dutch deck? Okay, anyway, I can't see the deck anymore, but I'm pretty sure he has 9 Gurkha in there. If he doesn't, then it's a mistake and he should fix that. I think this comes down to a few things. He was actually quite okay. He was quite okay in the start with what he was doing. I think he should have focused a little bit more on the herding, because he was really pressured for food later on and couldn't keep his mess going. But most important, 6 sour is a complete waste. Imagine if that would have been 9 Zamburek, and for example, I think 9 Gurkhas would have been a better choice as well, because he really needed the mess to deal with. If he, for example, shipped 9 Gurkhas, he could have made less Gurkhas and could have even made more Zambureks, and that was what he really needed to deal with the Hussar mess from a Dutch guy. But DogSoldier played pretty well. He saw a little bit of weakness in the anti-cavalry and decided to mass a lot of Hussars. I'm not sure what the church was for, because he never made Stradiotes, never made the 5th bank. But anyway, he always had the option to go for Stradios, I think, so that's also quite okay. So well played there by DogSoldier, and he advances to the next round. Here, by the way, you see the villager, of course, difference, but then again, if you take the banks into account, you see that the economy from DogSoldier was always up. From the start on already, and this is actually too much of a difference. I feel that maybe a little bit mishearing, not sure, but shouldn't be that much of a difference, I think. Although, now they say this, the banks really kick in really fast, so you see that here the line goes faster for the Indian player with the 600 coin shipped as well, 600 wood and the 4 villages from the consulate and everything. So really it's trying to make up from this point in the game. However, when he had just no more resources later on, or less resources, he really couldn't get this graph up and maintain constant production.